Speaking of great pro wrestlers, you call the matches of a great pro wrestler that's also your husband.
Congratulations, by the way.
Oh,
Yes,
thank
congrats
you.
on that. Congrats on your nuptials and everything. But let's talk about it. This guy has been having the most insane year that in like it's like him and Osprey for me. It's like one of these
Yeah.
guys are the guys.
And they
How
wrestled
is
each other this year, too.
Yes, exactly. So you see there. How has it been being able to travel with Mike, being able to call his matches and kind of be a part of his journey too? You guys have vlogs and things together and you
Yeah.
guys stream. How has everything been? And
Oh my
tell
God.
him he's the best also.
Mike,
make sure he knows that he's the
You're
guy.
the best.
You know you're the guy,
He's
Speedball.
sitting
Come on.
behind me. He's
Come on,
back here
Speedball.
somewhere. Oh my gosh. So, Mike and I have been together for a long time, as most people know, and for a good portion of that time, we couldn't live in the same country.
Right.
Like our relationship was what you would call long distance for a very long time. I mean, during COVID, I couldn't enter Canada for 10 months. We just didn't see each other for 10 months.
Nice. How did that work?
And
Yeah.
part of, so like the time when I talked about like how I wanted to travel more, it happened to coincide with, Mike and I starting to travel together more as well. And so we've had a period of time where we were able to like go to Europe for a few months and just live there and train and wrestle and travel. And that was great. But it was still like, there's levels to it. And he needed to be on a higher level. Like he needed to just be more recognized and have bigger opportunities. And so we were kind of just waiting for that. And now signing with Impact has been incredible. Now, Mike predominantly lives here in the States with me. We're able to get married. But the main thing is you've seen from our vlogs and things, we love traveling together. I love calling his matches. And they have had some really, really good ones this year. And I've been lucky enough to call a lot of them.
Yep.
But yeah, just getting to travel together has been something that we talked about for years. What would it be? What would we do if we were able to just travel around the United States together? We've spent months living in some guy's spare bedroom, or we lived in a bunk bed in Germany for WXW for a while. We've done it.
The life of pro wrestlers.
Yeah. But what would it be like if we could have a lot more freedom with our schedules and sort of we try to, as much as possible, organize our travel so we can work together and travel together. And it's been really great because we don't know that we'll always be able to do that. There's a real possibility that, over time, maybe our schedules aren't going to mesh as much. Maybe we'll have opportunities that take us away from each other on certain days.
Because Mike can't be an Impact forever. Let's talk about it.
But
get that big contract.
The nicest thing I think for Impact is people kind of smartening up to the fact that it's actually really good.
Yeah.
There was, and I think, and I mean, I'm a little biased on this, but I think Speedball has been a huge factor in that because he has had these matches that are getting a lot of buzz, and Impact has been putting them on YouTube, and more people are seeing them. And because he travels so much, they're everywhere outside of the Impact tapings as well. I think that it's drawing a lot of people to kind of reconsider Impact. Same thing for Masha and Giselle and Jordan and the eyes they've brought on the Knockouts division by being people who, so if you look at someone like Masha, who is incredible, Masha is very much like Speedball in that they have their Impact stuff that they do, and it's great, but then they also do a lot outside of Impact. And I think people are well, you're really great in GCW. It's too bad, blah, 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 Impact. And it's no. You should check out Impact. And they're oh, wait, hold on. I didn't know. This is also awesome.
Right.
And I think that that's sort of leaning into the idea that leaning into the in-ring work has been really beneficial, I think, to Impact too, which I don't know. They have a really great crew too.
They do.
It's funny because anytime that conversation comes up of oh, I didn't know Impact, it usually is something involving Mike. And I always love that. You just think a couple weeks ago, he had the match with Josh Alexander, went an hour long. That was pretty much the conversation you would see of people going, oh, Impact's got it like that. And people are calling that one of the match of the year contenders. And I think that's just a testament to, one, the crew that's very underrated there that they have. And then two, what Mike Bailey is bringing to the table.
Yeah, I mean that match with Josh too was unadvertised. It was a an impromptu hour, and it managed to kind of stay under the radar until it aired, to the point where like people were watching, because I'm always checking the hashtags for everything. While I'm calling a show, I am checking the social media always, because I want to know what people think. But like for this one, I didn't call that match. Obviously, Matt and Tom did an amazing job, but I was checking the hashtag for Impact as people were watching, and there were lots of people who were viewing who didn't realize this match was going to happen,
right?
And were like starting to watch and like, oh wait, this is going a little long. And then they started to catch on that it was going to go an hour, and it was incredible. And it's like, if that doesn't convince you that you can't miss an episode of this show, I don't know what does.